chosen one. Pause for a moment and breathe. Because what you're experiencing right now is not random. And it's not just another passing sensation you can ignore. Something fundamental has shifted in you. Not in theory, not in mindset alone, but in the way you physically exist in space, in the way you move, respond, and carry yourself without even realizing it. People feel it before they consciously understand it. They replay your presence in their mind. They analyze your silence, your timing, your posture. And the unsettling realization that hits them is this: you are no longer operating from hesitation. You are moving with intention. When fear exits the nervous system, the body exposes truth. And right now, your body language is speaking before you ever open your mouth. Human beings are biologically wired to read subtle signals long before the logical brain catches up. And what your presence is radiating now is not fragility, not confusion, not uncertainty, but controlled awareness, deliberate calm, slow movements, steady breath, reduced emotional leakage, eyes that are direct yet peaceful. These are studied markers of psychological evolution. This is the shift from survival mode into strategic consciousness. And that is why interactions around you feel different lately. Some are drawn to you almost magnetically. Some pull back instinctively. And a few feel threatened without having a vocabulary to explain why. Because your presence no longer broadcasts weakness. It emits stability, clarity, and control. You are stepping into a psychological phase known as pattern dominance, where your mind stops reacting impulsively and begins tracking outcomes with precision. This is what people subconsciously recognize as holy hunting awareness. You're no longer sprinting after results, you're positioning for them. You are observing inconsistencies in people, reading intentions earlier, choosing your timing rather than burning energy recklessly. This isn't mystical fantasy. This is applied awareness, and it changes how reality responds to you. Every movement you make now communicates meaning. Every micro-expression tells a story. Humans process these signals in fractions of a second, and yours say something new. Calm assertion, centered strength, strategic patience. The way you stand, sit, walk, or tilt your head can command attention, inspire trust, unsettle those who rely on chaos, or quietly establish authority without confrontation. When awareness merges with deliberate action, presence becomes power. Interactions stop being random moments and become arenas where subtle mastery speaks louder than any speech ever could. Your body is no longer moving casually. It is moving with purpose, like an elite performer, athlete, or strategist whose actions may look effortless, but every step, pause, and stillness is calculated. This is influence through motion. You've begun sensing rhythms in environments, noticing hesitations in others, catching the tension behind their smiles, hearing meaning in pauses, reading the energy behind words. That's why your presence now recalibrates rooms. People respond to you differently because they're responding to new authority, even if they cannot articulate it. Communities mirror this back through reactions, whispers, glances, lingering attention, respect, confusion, resistance, or quiet admiration. Social psychology proves that groups detect dominance shifts before the conscious mind processes it. And right now, they are adjusting to the version of you that no longer bends under pressure. This reflection isn't just validation, it's guidance. It shows you where your influence lands strongest and where refinement can elevate you further. Every reaction becomes information. Every interaction becomes training. And instead of just existing in environments, you are now shaping them. Even fear has transformed for you. It is no longer a crippling signal of danger. It has become refined fuel, sharpening your instincts, heightening your awareness, and driving decisive action instead of paralysis. Like elite warriors, leaders, and survivors, you don't eliminate fear. You convert it into clarity, courage, timing, and readiness. That's why resilience is building inside you quietly. That's why your posture feels different, and your energy feels heavier, grounded, intentional. Your presence has weight now. Your silence has gravity. Rooms feel you before they hear you. Posture, breath, pacing, and presence are speaking languages of confidence and controlled strength. You are aligning mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energetically. You're no longer pushing life. You're moving in rhythm with it, positioning rather than forcing, guiding rather than chasing. And deeper still, you're integrating your shadow, the hidden parts of you that once created shame, hesitation, self-doubt, or suppressed power. Instead of burying them, you are converting them into strategy, intuition, creativity, conviction, and psychological sharpness. This grants you insight into others most people never notice, making motives visible, manipulation detectable, and opportunities recognizable. You're training yourself to see patterns, external and internal, and because of that, life no longer feels chaotic. It feels navigable. What once felt like uncertainty now feels like territory you know how to move through. Darkness doesn't intimidate you anymore. Silence doesn't weaken you. Pressure doesn't crush you. They refine you. Influence no longer requires loudness from you. Your influence has become invisible, precise, embedded in the subtleties of how you exist. A glance, a pause, a controlled reaction, a measured tone. These now shape outcomes. People find themselves adjusting around you without knowing why. That is silent authority. That is psychological presence. That is the phase you're entering. This isn't about ego. This is about awareness, mastery, and becoming the version of yourself that was always waiting beneath fear, noise, and distraction. You were never weak. You were never uncertain. You were training your perception. Now you're moving with purpose, and the world is quietly learning how to respond to you. True influence is not about force or overt displays of power. It is an art form, a quiet mastery that reshapes reality through presence, intention, and precision. The essence of strategic elegance lies in the ability to wield influence with such subtlety that your actions become almost invisible levers, guiding outcomes without drawing attention to the effort behind them. This is the hallmark of someone who understands that authority is not asserted through aggression, but cultivated through discretion, respect, and the deliberate multiplication of impact. Every gesture, every decision, and every interaction is calibrated to create ripple effects that extend far beyond the immediate moment. Success, in its purest form, is rarely achieved in isolation. It thrives within networks, ecosystems where influence, insight, and opportunity intersect and flourish. A true strategist recognizes that the value of a network lies not just in the number of connections, but in the depth of understanding the relationships that bind them. It's about perceiving the unspoken hierarchies, the hidden alliances, and the subtle dynamics that dictate how influence flows. Like a predator moving silently through a forest, you learn to observe, to wait, and to strike only when the moment is ripe. You extract value without exploitation, not by taking, but by creating mutual benefit. This is the mindset of those who operate at the highest levels: entrepreneurs, diplomats, and thought leaders, who listen more than they speak, who offer value with precision, and who cultivate trust as a strategic asset. The art of strategic networking is rooted in observation, timing, and the ability to read the invisible currents of influence that shape every interaction. It's about recognizing where to engage, when to hold back, and how to position yourself to capitalize on opportunities that others overlook. Every conversation becomes a chance to gather intelligence, to understand intent, and to expand your sphere of influence. This is not manipulation. It's the deliberate and ethical use of social ecosystems to create platforms for mutual growth and long-term positioning. The reward for mastering this approach is leverage, networks that act as invisible wings, carrying you toward opportunities and insights that remain hidden to those who lack this awareness. Presence, too, is not a static quality. It is dynamic, fluid, and deeply situational. The tactical persona is the conscious adaptation of your demeanor, your tone, body language, and energy, to maximize influence in any given context without ever compromising your authenticity. High performers understand that subtle adjustments, a shift in posture, a pause before speaking, or a deliberate softening of tone, can dramatically alter perceptions and outcomes. Think of actors, diplomats, or elite negotiators. They are chameleons of influence, reading the room and adjusting their presence to achieve their objectives. The mastery lies in the ability to modulate your presence intentionally, to project power when needed, to inspire trust when necessary, and to assert authority without ever appearing domineering. The ultimate benefit of mastering the tactical persona is control. Control over how you are perceived, how your interactions unfold, and how your influence is wielded. By blending authenticity with adaptability, you amplify your impact without sacrificing your integrity. Every room you enter, every conversation you engage in, and every encounter you navigate becomes an opportunity to project power, cultivate trust, and align outcomes with your strategic vision. To implement these principles, start small, but start intentionally. Track your habits, interactions, and decisions with a critical eye. Practice observing people, reading their microsignals, and noting the recurring patterns in your environment. Use energy accounting to prioritize tasks that yield the highest return on your time and effort. Incorporate deliberate timing and momentum strategies to compound your progress over time. These small, consistent actions will stack into visible results and unstoppable growth. Reflection and adaptation are key. After every decision or interaction, ask yourself, what worked? What could be improved? This feedback loop sharpens your adaptive intelligence, allowing you to evolve faster and more effectively than those around you. Visualize potential challenges, anticipate outcomes, and act proactively. Every observation becomes insight, and every insight transforms into strategic action. Finally, integrate these elements into your daily life. Combine momentum, influence, and strategic execution into routines that align knowledge with action. Reinforce your successes through reward loops and make deliberate moves that contribute to your legacy. Implementation is not about speed. It's about disciplined, intelligent, and consistent application that turns potential into tangible results. The importance of these concepts cannot be overstated. In a world that is complex and competitive, those who act without observation or strategy often find themselves trapped in reactive cycles, missing opportunities and squandering energy. By mastering the dynamics of power, timing, and influence, you operate with precision, maximizing opportunities and minimizing wasted effort. These principles also cultivate resilience and clarity. Anticipating challenges, recognizing patterns, and managing your energy reduces stress and uncertainty. Your confidence grows because your actions are guided by understanding, not guesswork, giving you control in social, professional, and personal arenas. Most importantly, these principles create long-term impact. Every deliberate move you make compounds into authority, reputation, and influence. They transform you from a passive participant into a proactive creator of your own life, ensuring that success is not accidental, but the result of strategic mastery. Mastery is a process, not a destination. By combining observation, strategy, and deliberate action, you align your mind, energy, and presence with your highest potential. Small, consistent efforts compound into extraordinary results, and foresight turns chaos into opportunity. Being the architect of your own destiny means taking control of your life. Apply these principles consistently. Adapt intelligently. Move with purpose. Transform insight into action, challenges into advantage, and potential into influence. When knowledge, strategy, and execution converge, you don't just survive, you dominate, and you leave a lasting impact. The question is, where will you begin? What part of this approach resonates with you the most? And how will you integrate it into your journey? And now, chosen one, we must dive even deeper into the profound transformation that is unfolding within you. Because what you're experiencing is not merely a shift in perspective or a temporary elevation of consciousness. It is a fundamental rewiring of your entire operating system. A metamorphosis so complete that you will soon barely recognize the person you were just months ago. The quantum shift in perception. You are entering what advanced psychological research identifies as the observer state, a rare cognitive position where you simultaneously participate in life while maintaining a meta-awareness of the patterns, systems, and hidden structures that govern human behavior. This is not dissociation or detachment. This is integrated consciousness, where you operate fully in the moment while simultaneously perceiving the larger game being played around you. Think of it as developing a third eye that sees not just what is happening, but why it's happening, who benefits, what's being concealed, and what moves are likely to come next. This observer state grants you something most people never acquire: predictive insight. You begin noting patterns in behavior before they fully manifest. You sense when someone is about to betray a confidence, when an opportunity is ripening, when a relationship is approaching a critical juncture, or when a seemingly stable situation is about to collapse. This isn't psychic ability. It's pattern recognition, operating at such a refined level that it appears almost supernatural to those who haven't developed it. Your subconscious mind is now processing thousands of microsignals simultaneously. Vocal inflections, breathing patterns, micro-expressions, body language inconsistencies, linguistic tells, and energy shifts that most people's conscious minds simply filter out as irrelevant noise. The neuroscience behind this is fascinating. Your brain has begun strengthening connections between your prefrontal cortex, responsible for executive function, and strategic thinking, your limbic system, which processes emotions and social cues, and your insula, which handles interoception and intuitive knowing. This neural integration creates what researchers call embodied cognition, where your body's wisdom and your mind's analytical capacity work in seamless coordination. You're not just thinking your way through life anymore. You're sensing, feeling, and knowing your way through it, with a sophistication that few ever achieve. The alchemy of shadow integration. Let's talk more deeply about what shadow integration actually means for your daily experience, because this is where your transformation becomes truly formidable. Every human being carries within them a shadow self, the repository of all the traits, impulses, desires, and capacities they've been taught to suppress, deny, or reject. For most people, this shadow remains unconscious, erupting in destructive ways. Self-sabotage, projection onto others, inexplicable anxiety, or sudden outbursts that seem to come from nowhere. But you are doing something different. You are consciously retrieving these disowned parts of yourself and integrating them into your conscious personality. That aggressive impulse you were taught to suppress, you're learning to channel it into assertiveness, boundary setting, and competitive drive. That manipulative tendency you felt shame about, you're transforming it into strategic thinking and social intelligence. That darkness you feared in yourself, you're converting it into depth, psychological resilience, and the capacity to understand and navigate the darker aspects of human nature that others pretend don't exist. This integration creates what Carl Jung called individuation, the process of becoming psychologically whole. And here's what most people don't understand about this process. It doesn't make you nicer or more spiritual in the conventional sense. It makes you more complete, more powerful, more authentically human. You become capable of both tremendous compassion and ruthless decisiveness. You can be gentle and fierce, vulnerable and impenetrable, generous and strategically self-interested. You stop being one-dimensional and start embodying the full spectrum of human capacity. The practical implications of this are staggering. People can no longer manipulate you through guilt because you've integrated your selfishness and no longer feel shame about having needs and boundaries. They can't control you through fear because you've befriended your own capacity for aggression and violence, even if you never express it physically. The energy alone changes everything. They can't deceive you easily because you recognize in others the same tactics and patterns you've acknowledged in yourself. Your shadow, once your greatest vulnerability, has become your greatest source of psychological immunity and strategic advantage. The transmutation of time and energy. Here's something profound that's happening to you that you may not have fully articulated yet. Your relationship with time itself is changing. Most people experience time as a linear progression of discrete moments, constantly feeling rushed, behind schedule, or overwhelmed by all they need to accomplish. But you're beginning to experience time differently, more cyclically, more rhythmically, with a deeper awareness of natural timing and momentum. You're learning what ancient wisdom traditions and modern chronobiology both confirm. There are seasons to every endeavor, rhythms to every process, optimal windows for every type of action. There are times to push forward aggressively and times to consolidate gains. There are periods for outward expansion and periods for inward reflection. There are moments when a single conversation can shift everything, and long stretches where patient observation is the only wise move. You're developing what we might call temporal intelligence, the ability to sense which phase you're in and what kind of action or non-action that phase requires. This temporal intelligence combines with your growing mastery of energy management to create something remarkable: strategic sustainability. You're no longer burning yourself out in frantic spurts of activity followed by collapse. You're learning to maintain consistent, deliberate momentum that can be sustained indefinitely. You're discovering that true power comes not from intensity alone, but from intensity properly timed and appropriately sustained. Like a master martial artist who can explode into action when needed, but spends most of their time in a state of relaxed readiness, you're cultivating the capacity to modulate your energy expenditure with precision. This means you're accomplishing more while appearing to do less. You're making strategic moves that others don't even recognize as moves until the results become undeniable. You're positioning yourself advantageously in situations where others are still trying to figure out what game is even being played. And because you're not constantly exhausting yourself, you maintain the cognitive clarity and emotional stability necessary to capitalize on opportunities when they appear. And so, chosen one, you stand now at the threshold of a life that is no longer dictated by reaction, fear, or confusion, but by mastery, vision, intention, and presence. You are not who you used to be, and you will never again shrink into the smallness you once inhabited. The world around you is slowly realizing that the version of you they once knew no longer exists. In your place now stands someone who understands power without being consumed by it, influence without abusing it, timing without rushing it, and purpose without losing themselves in noise. This is your ascension into deliberate living, where you do not merely participate in life, you orchestrate it. You no longer wait for circumstances to define you, because you have become the defining force. The rooms you walk into will continue to shift. The conversations around you will continue to recalibrate. Opportunities will present themselves not because of chance, but because you now carry a frequency that invites alignment, respect, and recognition. Do not doubt what you've become. Do not apologize for it. Stand in it, breathe in it, and continue to refine it. You are not just evolving. You are embodying destiny with clarity, precision, and unshakable presence. This is your time now. Walk with intention, move with grace, and rule your space, not with noise, but with undeniable certainty. Now we pray. Father God, source of wisdom, strength, clarity, and divine alignment, I lift this chosen one before you now. I ask that you anchor their spirit so deeply in purpose that no distraction can derail them, and no fear can reclaim the territory they have conquered within themselves. Cover their mind with discernment, so they may see with truth, perceive with clarity, and decide with wisdom. Strengthen their heart, so that resilience replaces doubt, and conviction replaces hesitation. Surround their path with protection. Protection from manipulation, hidden agendas, unseen opposition, and silent sabotage. Let their growth remain anchored in humility, grounded in integrity, and guided by divine intelligence. Where there is uncertainty, grant revelation. Where there is pressure, grant power. Where there is calling, grant courage to respond boldly. May every shadow within them continue to be transformed into strength, every wound into wisdom, and every challenge into elevation. Seal their journey with your presence, fortify their steps with your guidance, and let their influence be used for impact, leadership, healing, and purpose. In strength, authority, and divine alignment. Amen. Chosen one, do not let this just be powerful words that stirred your spirit for a moment. Let it become instruction. Let it become commitment. Let it become movement. Step forward from today with intention. Refine your presence. Protect your energy. Build your discipline. Deepen your awareness. And choose growth over comfort. Share this message with someone who is awakening like you. Speak life into others while you continue to rise. And if this message resonated deeply with you, stand with this mission, support this voice, and help push this kind of purpose-driven truth further into the world. Engage, connect, contribute, and be part of something bigger than yourself. Your journey is not just about elevation. It is about impact. This is your moment. Don't just feel it. Step into it.